Everyone, I would like to call the council meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Alderperson Robinson. Hurt.
Present.
Tweet.
Here.
Swanson. Here. Parker.
Here.
Poulos.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
And Mayor Tomes.
Here.
Pursuant to ILCS 127AI, remote attendance is allowable if the physically present body is physically present. So in that case, we will need to voice vote a first and a second. Moses Robinson in for exception 1.
Motion to allow Alderman Robinson in pursuant to the code.
Second. Move to second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moses, you're welcome to join us and vote. All right, if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, item number 5, we have several proclamations, so let's see if we can have some celebration here.
A proclamation declaring Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 as Udell Watts III Day. Whereas lifelong Rock Islander Udell Watts III has served as a trustee on the Rock Island Public Library Board since 2003. And whereas Udell regrettably must retire from the board due to term limits, and whereas throughout his tenure, Udell has raised tens of thousands of dollars for the Lorraine Evans Watts Children's Book Fund of the Rock Island Public Library Foundation, and whereas he exhibits a lifetime of public service and volunteerism for Rock Island, and whereas, well, as president of the board, he has mentored the library director on local library historical matters, and whereas his selfless service and family's dedication to the Rock Island Public Library are naming recognition for our Watts Midtown Branch Library. And whereas he is one of the most loving and compassionate residents of our city, and whereas he will be greatly missed as a Rock Island Public Library trustee, and where he will be modest and embarrassed by this proclamation.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do hereby declare Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 as Udell Watts III Day in the City of Rock Island. Yeah. Come on up here. Come up here first. Okay? We're going to do a little photo op. Yep. Over here. By the way, you can stay off a year and then go back on, by the way. No, that's fine. All right.
All right, ready?
Now, here's this for you.
Okay.
And then you can get the podium if you wish to say something.
I'm good.
Yes, given a lot to the city.
All right, B, proclamation recognizing Gas and Electric Credit Union's 90th anniversary. Whereas Gas and Electric Credit Union in Rock Island is celebrating its 90th anniversary, and whereas Gas and Electric Credit Union was officially formed on May 8th, 1935 with a meeting between the Illinois Credit Union League, 45 employees of People's Power Company, and Moline Rock Island Manufacturing Company. And whereas in 1941, Iowa Illinois Gas and Electric Company was formed from 10 small companies, and the credit union changed its name to Gas and Electric Credit Union, or GECU, in March 1943, a name they have carried ever since. And whereas the credit union established its office in Rock Island in June 1963 at 319 18th Street before moving into the Iowa Illinois Gas and Electric Company Annex Building in June of 1970, and finally to its current location at 2300 4th Avenue in April 1998. And whereas 90 years later, GECU is still dedicated to the same mission from 1935 to improve the financial well-being of their members. And whereas today GCEU proudly serves 5,600 members and has $125 million in assets, and consistently ranks in the top 1% of all credit unions nationwide for returning value to its members, and first in the country in their peer group for member service usage. And whereas GECU serves employees and family members of dozens of sponsored companies, including anyone working in downtown Rock Island. And whereas Gas and Electric Credit Union will host their 90th anniversary celebration on Friday, May 9th.
Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do hereby honor and congratulate Gas and Electric Credit Union on its 90th anniversary in the city of Rock Island. Come on up. Going for another 90. How you doing, sir? Good. There you go, sir. You have the microphone if you wish. Uh-oh, pulls out the prepared speech.
Oh, no, just quick notes. So, thank you, Mayor and City Council, for the proclamation this evening. We're very proud citizens of Rock Island, the majority of our 90 years spent here in Rock Island. And especially I want to thank the city for all their help in acquiring our current location at 2300 4th Avenue in 1998, helping select the location and demolish some vacant and dilapidated houses. And then we expanded twice since that time. So it's been a great home for us. And I especially when I look out our front window, I see, Stecker Graphics across the street and the incredible transformation on 3rd Avenue that's occurred since we've been there. D-Films and Christian Care Center and the Robert Young Center and the Voss Brothers Lofts and Illinois Casualty and the Dumarche Markets, all that's been done since we've been there. So not saying we're the catalyst, but that. So it's been very moving to be a part of that transformation in that part of Rock Island. And thank you to the city. We merged in your own credit union in 2001, and so we proudly serve the city and employees and the family members of Rock Island, and hope we're doing an exceptional job in doing that. So thank you for being a home for us for the majority of our 90 years.
You bet. Thank you.
C, proclamation declaring May as Internal Audit Awareness Month. Whereas internal auditing is a vital part of strengthening organizations and protecting stakeholders in both the public and private sectors. And whereas internal auditing helps identify and manage organizations' risks and ensures that policies, procedures, and controls are in place and working appropriately. And whereas internal auditing is an increasingly sophisticated and complex activity that requires specialized knowledge, training, and education. And whereas the Institute of Internal Auditors, an international professional organization of over 218,000 members in internal audit, governance, internal control, information technology, education, and security functions, is the internal audit profession's most widely recognized advocate and provider of standards, guidance, and certifications. And whereas the Heartland, Iowa chapter, serving members from eastern Iowa to the Northwest Illinois corridor, including the Quad Cities, has over 200 members and has established a tradition of consistently offering services to its membership by providing educational and networking opportunities and promoting the internal audit profession.
Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Internal Audit Awareness Month in the City of Rock Island, and begin a month-long commemoration to the Institution of Internal Auditors in Rock Island by inviting the citizens of Rock Island to join me in recognizing professional auditors for their contributions. I believe it's something. Yep, there you are. Come on up here. Here you go, sir. You have the mic if you wish. I know this is the second year you've been here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, City Council. My name is Roberto Leone, here to represent on behalf of Institute of Internal Audit Heartland, Iowa chapter. Audit Awareness Month is an important initiative aimed at educating our citizens and business partners about the vital role of internal auditing in ensuring transparency, accountability, and efficiency within organizations. As representatives of the IIA Heartland, Iowa chapter, we emphasize the significance of audits in safeguarding public interests, detecting and preventing fraud, and promoting good governance. Throughout this month, we encourage everyone to learn about how audits contribute to the integrity of both public and private sectors, ultimately fostering trust and confidence in our community's institutions. Employees and citizens can take several actions to advocate for the audit profession this month. Firstly, recognize and appreciate the hard work and dedication of auditors by acknowledging their contributions publicly. Thank you for doing that this evening. Secondly, support policies and practices that protect auditors from undue influence and retaliation, ensuring they can perform their duties independently and effectively. Lastly, promote a culture of transparency and accountability within organizations, understanding that audits are essential in preventing misconduct, financial mismanagement, and other detrimental activities. By doing so, we can all contribute to a more ethical and trustworthy environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
D, proclamation declaring May 4th through May 10th as National Small Business Week. Whereas small businesses make up 99% of all the businesses in the United States and employ nearly half of all private sector workers, contributing to the prosperity of every industry. And whereas from neighborhood corner stores to cutting-edge startups, small businesses are the very foundation of our economic strength and embodiment of the American dream. And whereas Rock Island is committed to fostering a supportive environment for our local small businesses, recognizing their invaluable contributions to our community's vibrancy. And whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week each year since 1963, highlighting the valuable programs and services offered by the U.S. Small Business Administration. And whereas Rock Island proudly joins the national effort committed to assisting our local small businesses in their endeavors.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do hereby proclaim May 4th through May 10th, 2025, as National Small Business Week in the City of Rock Island. I believe we have a few people here from the Chamber. Good, how you doing? Good. Good.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. You got the microphone if you wish, or one of you.
All right, something quick for you guys here. My name's Taylor. I was born and raised in Rock Island and never lived anywhere else, so wanted to own a business here and be a part of the community of business owners and amazing supporters in this city. I own Pioneer Improvement, a small business in Rock Island that remodels residential homes and commercial properties. We are currently working on the Looney Mansion and have an amazing opportunity to work on the Arsenal Clock Tower building in the near future here. Nothing means more to me than working on the homes in Rock Island that I get to see every day. Today I want to emphasize the importance of small business in Rock Island. Small business creates jobs, providing opportunities for our residents and helping to reduce unemployment. They foster local innovation and entrepreneurship, ensuring that Rock Island remains vibrant and competitive. Moreover, small businesses enhance our community's unique character, offering distinct products and services that reflect our local culture and values. They support local charities and events, strengthening community ties and making Rock Island a better place to live. By choosing to shop local, we empower our neighbors and invest in the future of our city. Let's continue to support our small businesses. They are essential for the growth and prosperity of Rock Island. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the Chamber. I know some Chamber people here, and Jack with the downtown, supporting those small businesses and promoting that, so thank you. Okay. Public comment is next. We do have not as many signed up as last time, so we're going to try. We may go over the 30 minutes. We'll see if everybody can keep it moving right along. We're going to try to get everybody in before so they don't have to wait till the end of the meeting. Yes.
And just a brief reminder for the rules, under section 2-40, it shall be unlawful for any person by his conduct to interfere with the orderly conduct of a city council meeting, after first being warned that his conduct is disrupting the assembly and is given the opportunity to cease and yet fails to do so. Additionally, you will have 5 minutes. Please go to the podium and state your name for the record. Address your comments to council as a whole, not to individual members. Be civil and courteous in your comments. Profanity will not be tolerated. Speakers may not use public comment to harass council or engage in disturbing behavior. Public comment is not for asking questions of council or engaging in a dialogue or debate.
Very good. Thank you. Hope everybody understands that. All right, start, I guess, Kelly.
Kelly McKay, I'm a wildlife biologist from Hampton, Illinois. Here we are again. The insincerity and dishonesty of the city council seems to know no bounds. There are many, many examples of this, but tonight I'm going to concentrate on 3 of them. Let's start with the Shive-Hattery Environmental Assessment. This is the document that the city and developers keep referring to when they claim they've done their due diligence regarding environmental impacts of the proposed development. However, we have repeatedly pointed out that no actual on-site surveys or field surveys were ever conducted as part of this assessment, and instead it relies on insufficient, outdated, and inaccurate databases. These are facts. Even the DNR admits that their assessment is inadequate. If this document represents such sound science, then why doesn't any representative of the DNR or Shive-Hattery come to one of these meetings and defend its integrity? Now let's move on and discuss the issue of bald eagles. When I first notified the city about the severely negative impacts that this proposed development would have on the largest documented bald eagle night roost in the lower 48 states, I was challenged by Miles Brainerd to produce any other eagle researcher who could corroborate my views. I immediately produced 3. Between the 4 of us, we have more than 150 years of eagle research experience. And up until tonight, not one of us had been contacted once about our views or input on the impacts of this development on bald eagles. Until tonight, thank you, Alderman Tweet, for doing that. The city and the developers have claimed that they can negate any negative impacts to the night roost by employing an earthen berm and downward pointing lights. Yet when questioned by Alderman Hurt 2 weeks ago, Miles admitted he is not an eagle expert and can't talk intelligently about eagles. I couldn't agree with Miles more. He isn't and he can't. Bally's, which is much, much further away from the night roost than the proposed development, has already employed downward pointing lighting, and still we documented a significant shift of eagles out of the high use night roost area to a less optimal area downstream. So this is evidence, this is proof that these measures, such as downward pointing lighting, does not work. Therefore, I would like to know what researchers you folks have consulted with that can back up your claim of being able to negate the negative impacts on the night roost. And why aren't these researchers here defending their position, their research? Is it simply because you haven't consulted any other researchers and your claim is simply a load of crap, which is what I suspect it is? At the city council meeting 2 weeks ago, Alderman Hurt questioned the validity of our night roost research, saying that according to the Corps of Engineers, there aren't that many eagles in the area. Yet the data from their own national midwinter bald eagle count would disprove this claim, so I don't know who the alderman was talking to at the Corps. The only research that the Corps has been involved in locally is the 6-year night roost study, which we conducted in Milam Bottoms. And by involved, I mean they simply provided the funding for it. They actually contracted an eagle researcher to do the study, and that researcher was me. So I would just let Alderman Hurt know that if he has any questions regarding eagle use in the area in general, or in Milam Bottom specifically, why not ask someone who actually knows about eagles like me, instead of asking the Corps, who does not do eagle research, or Miles Brainerd, who does not do eagle research. And I want to finish by discussing Blanding's turtle, a state endangered species and one being proposed for federal listing. We believe there's very strong evidence based on the work of Dr. Alan Markozich that this species occurs in and around the proposed development site. Since the DNR appears to be totally delinquent when it comes to actually doing some on-the-ground survey work for these species, We decided to spend time this spring and summer at the site attempting to document the presence of this species, of this state endangered turtle. Allowing the developer to block the site off before they even own the land will potentially hinder us from physically accessing the site to do our searches.
30 seconds.
Again, we're constantly being challenged to produce evidence of the adverse impacts of this development, and when we try to collect this evidence, the city and the developers either prevent us from doing it or ignore the facts that we do produce. Again, how utterly pathetic and dishonest are you willing to be? Thank you.
Tim Presley. Tim? I appreciate all the applause, or, you know, when people do this, but we're trying to keep this moving, so if we could keep that limited, I'd appreciate it.
I'll put the timer on since I don't wing it, so I'll make it easier on you. Good evening, I'm Tim Presley. I own the land down adjacent to it. And I screwed this up already, so. And I have the easement. One of the concerns you heard my wife talk about tonight about the gate moving and the frontage road, access road. The access road itself is actually owned by the Illinois DOT. So any permitting or anything like that will have to be contacted with the Illinois DOT. And at this time, last I talked to them with today, no, nothing has been done. So as for the general public, that access road is open to all public. Now your concern is about the gates, locking them. As I even drove in tonight, the yellow gate's been open for over 2 months. If you're so concerned about access to this property, why hasn't anybody gone down there and locked it? During the period that Hannah was in there doing their work, mowing, cutting trees and everything, we never did hear if they had a permit to even be in there during that time, so obviously they didn't sign any hold harmless agreements or anything, didn't have their insurance or anything, so the city was totally liable during this period. Who gave them that permission? Obviously they didn't approach the council, so people are working behind what is going on here. The city needs to do better in front of the people. I don't know what to, you know, I've tried to be honest with you and everything, but as we look forward, I did able to acquire one of the newer proposals of the casino, it's called Casino Rock Island. And one of the reasons I look at this as Casino Rock Island, last time, Councilman, you asked a wonderful question. What was the difference between different sizes of gas stations and everything? And Miles said 10,000 gallons. So I looked up, what does 10,000 gallons mean in Illinois? 10,000 gallons means that's for a gas station to be able to have video gaming. For a truck stop to have it, you have to have the full design of this here. And they can almost double the amount of gaming than a normal gas station. Plus, they have to require to do 50,000 gallons of diesel per month. You think that might be much? No, because when you consider Stern can buy the fuel at deep, you know, cheap price and everything, and then actually contract all his trucks and everything to load out of the facility, could vastly reduce the amount he would need monthly out of this. So now he has his little casino besides his dispensary. And we look farther into this mapping and everything, and they have a truck scale. The truck scale, I cannot understand that. I've been involved in doing over 10 truck scales through Illinois and up in Minnesota. And the cost of doing a truck scale, what they were showing here, you look like by the time you get done with electrical and everything, your investment will be close to $300,000. And if you try to even get that return in 10 years, you're going to have to do 30 or 40 trucks a day scaling, because you only get $15 a truck. And I don't see that type of, you know, volume through there. And then when you look at this, they have over close to 170 vehicle parking. And then when you look at this, even their mapping, how they show the new roads and everything through this, they've totally taken the property line beyond. They're filling in actually the wetlands to gain that extra property. But the worst of it, when you look at this map, you look at the frontage road. Last time I addressed this with you, you need to start at the beginning. That's the way I did every project. You have to look at how you're going to get to that place. It doesn't, no matter what you build, if it's out there in the island, doesn't mean anything. You look at this, it's only a 10-foot roadway into it. And the state will require quite a bit more usage of property and everything, so that even totally smalls the property that they're even being able to build. So until you actually get something from the state,
30 seconds.
you have nothing to work with. They don't have nothing to work with. And if you deal with the state, I guarantee you won't have anything back for at least 2 years probably, because they have all their studies and everything. So I don't see what the thing is of trying to get everything going right now, because it isn't going to happen. So I think we need to step back away from this and let the developer be here, answer questions, which he was supposed to be here tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Booker. Justin? Is Justin Booker here? Do I have that right?
Good evening. My name is Justin Booker. I'm here in support of the preservation of Milan Bottoms, and I'm here once again to advise the city of Rock Island to not grant right of entry to A. Hannah Illawa. Not out of spite, but out of concern. The people who have spoken in protest of this development have expressed on multiple occasions that any construction-like activity will disturb nesting ground for native turtle populations during their egg-laying season. Again, the group here protesting is not opposed to development, but we are supportive of thoughtful and sustainable development. I fully anticipate that you will grant the developers right of entry and would once again ask that you consider your legacy. We are at a crucial time in American history where the federal government is weakening our nation's various environmental agencies and their laws that protect both humans and wildlife. Many of our most successful environmental protection laws, such as the Endangered Species Act, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, the Bald Eagle and Golden Eagle Protection Act, and the Marine Mammal Protection Act, are slowly being dismantled by Donald Trump and company. Now is not the time to exploit the environment for profit. Now is the time to be leaders in the conservation community. The agencies that are being attacked by our nation's current administration were put into effect to ensure that human populations have access to clean air and water and to prevent the externalities associated with any further environmental degradation. Unbeknownst to many, those externalities will have considerable costs when we lose the free services that ecosystems such as wetlands provide us. And while the majority of this 10-acre plot is not defined as wetland, something that no one here is debating, though you guys do love to repeat it, it will 100% affect the adjacent wetland. The experts have come here on multiple occasions to tell you just that. You have biologists with various backgrounds, local conservation leaders, and educated citizens telling you that this project should not proceed any further. It is important, now more than ever, that cities and states lead the way to a brighter and healthier future for both humans and wildlife. You have an opportunity to be leaders that demonstrate long-term vision, as opposed to the nearsighted sort of politicians that the American public has grown used to expecting. There are too few leaders that say no when presented with perceived profitable ventures that displace wildlife and humans. Why continue to pour concrete when we are already struggling to take care of what has already been developed? How many more dilapidated structures must we create for our future? Do we only stop when there is nothing left that is green? What does the world look like when wildlife no longer has a safe place to hide from humans and all there is concrete? Is that the kind of world you want to live in? Because it's not the kind of world that I want to live in. I ask that we consider the life that we impact, consider the future, and consider if anyone will benefit from this project. I do ask that you do work with the developers to bring fun and profitable businesses to Rock Island, but in a less degrading location, because the city and the people of this city deserve it. I do say this directly to the developers. Your outdoor smoking lounge sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a fun place to be, and I'd love to see it in a location, maybe somewhere down at like Sunset Marina or somewhere else where wildlife has already been disturbed and concrete has already been poured. But your current desired plot is not a location that makes sense despite its neighboring relation to Bolly's. So to the developers, to NTI, to Matt Stern, we do offer you two hands. In one hand, we hold an olive branch. Please consider moving this development to another location that makes sense, and we can celebrate the construction of your business together. On the other hand, we can offer you a thorn branch. We are telling you that we do not approve of this development near the Milan Bottoms, and we will have no choice but to boycott your business. The people of Rock Island should also know that there are a number of land trusts that are interested in this land, largely interested in the preservation, restoration, and protection of this land so that wildlife will continue to return to our area for generations to come. Consider selling the land to them as to prevent the kind of degradation that is happening all over our country. Put this project to a referendum even. Let's make decisions that make sense for Rock Island, for the Quad Cities, and decisions that set an example for the rest of our country to follow. We are better than this, so again, I advise you to say no to the right of entry proposal and to table this project altogether and keep your bottoms clean.
John, give a jump. John?
John Duvajunk, citizen of Rock Island. Just a couple quick comments. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Kimmel for donating his time to investigate the suspected burial mounds. He didn't have to do that, but I appreciate him taking his own time on Saturday to take a look at that. And then my next comment is I've become aware that there are revised plans, preliminary plans for the development, and it's kind of hard to understand the exact changes at this point. I'm requesting that the developer meet with us, the concerned citizens, to try to explain what those changes are and how they affect the 10-acre parcel. So I volunteered to be a point of contact for that if that can be arranged. And then I had another concern, and that is the what is it called, the South Slope treatment plant that's on Kickapoo Creek there. In the past, it has been made aware to me that that has exceeded EPA discharge limits on certain parameters. Will that existing facility be able to meet the increased demand coming from this development, or is that going to have to increase in size? And also I ditto Mr. Presley's concerns with the intersection. It seems like every time that intersection size and reconfigurement is brought up, gets pushed off to the side, and nobody ever addresses what needs to be done with that. But I think we'd like to address that sooner than later too. Thank you.
Thank you. Kai Swanson.
Thank you. My name is Kai Swanson. I live at 2514 22nd and a half Avenue in Rock Island. Although today I address you as a proud resident and 35-year City of Rock Island property taxpayer, it's not irrelevant to the conversation that I have a long track record of supporting sustainability and conservation in this community, including through stewardship of the Rock Island County Forest Preserve District. With my fellow commissioners, we recently added the Amoa Forest Preserve by securing 180 acres of land for preservation and species restoration after it had sat vacant for 20 years due to commercial unviability. So please know that my care for the environment runs deep. Please know, too, that I appreciate embellishment. Embellishment is essential to storytelling, and no one appreciates a good story more than I do. But embellishment has no place in the serious and sober decision-making that's required for crafting effective public policy. The opponents of the project proposed along the Centennial Expressway have been prodigious in their embellishment. Consider 3 examples. When the Bi-State Conservation Action Network conducted its 2013 BioBlitz of Milan Bottoms, the site they referred to as the Milan Bottoms Preserve was 1.5 miles away from the proposed development site. Yes, eagles roost and nest within sight of the proposed location, but their post-DDT return to these wetlands came not just after the 1972 introduction of sound environmental regulation. It also came after the 1973 construction of the I-280 bridge, the ever-increasing noise and pollution from which have not hampered the eagle's glorious return. Eagles and other avian species have adapted and thrived next to the 24-hour busyness of a major interstate crossing of the Mississippi, just as they've done along South Concord Street, Sylvan Slough, the Moline Pool, and other locations right here in the heart of our community. This development will not necessarily impede roosting. Third, we all celebrate the return of threatened species, be they insects, animals, plants, or majestic birds. But that species restoration only happens through habitat restoration. The process of habitat restoration costs money. And thanks to the funding mechanisms that have been put in place by some brilliant ideas from city staff, revenue from the 10-acre development site, which contains no documented evidence of threatened species, will fuel accelerated restoration of the 500 acres of neighboring wetlands. As we've learned at Illinois, Loud Thunder, and Amoa, funding for habitat management is a critical prerequisite for species restoration. Now, earlier this month, my spouse and I got to hike Theodore Roosevelt Island in the middle of the Potomac River, smack dab between D.C. and Arlington, and directly underneath the flight path in and out of Washington's National Airport. It's an amazing 147-acre sanctuary, thanks to the preservation that is funded by the National Park Service. Now, ironically, with Rock Island's TIF in place, our 500 acres of wetlands will have a more secure funding source than even this national park, which is currently subject to the capricious whims of the current federal administration. Now, that aside, on that island in the Potomac, you can read these words of Teddy Roosevelt. He said, "The nation behaves well if it treats its natural resources as assets, which it must turn over to the next generation increased and not impaired in value." Now, that can only happen here if the city has the wherewithal to fund conservation, which this project includes, while at the same time providing much-needed general revenue for the funding-starved city services we all rely on. So please, I ask you, and I know there's a lot of passion around the issue, but please stick to the facts in evidence and approve this development. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Tanny? Is it Brad? Bart?
I can't read it either.
T-A-N-I. T-A-N-I. Oh, I'm sorry. There you go. I apologize.
You know me by now, Mayor.
Well, I do.
Former Mayor, I'm sorry. Tony Bear, 3rd Ward resident. I'm going to read something real quick, okay? Wasn't supposed to be just observing, but I feel like I need to say something. Somebody put in my ear real quick. The precautionary approach as it relates to a mayor's oath of office emphasizes taking preventive measures to mitigate potential risk and assure public well-being. While the oath itself focuses on supporting the Constitution and faithfully discharging duties, the precautionary approach encourages officials to anticipate potential problems and proactively take steps to avoid them. Here are a more detailed explanation to your oath of office. The standard oath of office for municipal officials in Illinois, including mayor, is, "I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I faithfully discharge the duties of the office to the best of my ability." This oath emphasizes the official's commitment to upholding the law and fulfilling their responsibility. The oath must be fulfilled with the city's clerk filed, you know all that, okay. The precautionary approach in general involves taking preventive actions to mitigate risk, especially when dealing with potential harm or uncertainty. A mayor, when guided by the precautionary approach, would proactively address potential issues that could harm the community, even if there's no definite proof of harm. This approach might involve implementing measures to protect the environment, manage public health risk, or ensure the safety of residents, even if the potential for harm is not fully established. I'm not sure why, right? You have residents saying, please, we want it. I'm very 420 friendly. Don't come after me, Chief. I have my medical card, okay? Very 420 friendly. I was just in Vegas this past weekend. I know the casino don't have anything to do with it. You guys are just calling it Casino West, but the truck stop and all that stuff. We are the residents who put y'all in the seats. There's so much Big Rock Island. I'm not sure why people are, there's all kinds of stuff people are telling me. I'm being told that there's people who help get certain people in the office, and people are mad because they help him get in the office, and it's just a lot of shenanigans. I just don't understand why it's so simple that people feel like they're valued. We come and say, hey, we want it, but can you move it somewhere else? I've even been told that this deal is already done, that you guys know that it's done. So this even confuses me more, why you guys act like it's not done if it's already done. I hear there's celebrations going on right now because the deal is already done. They don't value what you say. It's the love of money, and that's all it is. When we talk about human lives, when we talk about police brutality, this is what we're talking about. Feeling like we are valued, feeling like you guys are listening, but for the love of money. Y'all, it's already been done. I know it makes you feel better to be heard, but they're not listening. It's already been done. Please, for the love of God, when the new mayor gets in the office, I hope for once that somebody doesn't love money. Y'all have a good day.
Don Mavis.
Good evening. My name is Don Mavis. I'm a lifelong resident of Rock Island and Milan. I'll be 59 years old this coming Friday, and I've spent my entire life in the Illinois Quad Cities. And I got me a couple cliff notes here because I don't really need to prepare a speech because I've lived in Rock Island for all these years. I've had my home here for 25 years. I've watched the city of Rock Island shrink. I've watched businesses leave. I've watched residents move out. I've watched dilapidated buildings stand. But it seems like every single time that somebody tries to bring something positive to Rock Island, you get protests. Everywhere you look, and I got plenty of examples. We had the Audubon building that was slated to be torn down, and people protested and protested it. We was going to have a Fairway grocery store sit there. People protested so much that Fairway pulled out. Then we had Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's was going to build a restaurant about 10 years ago on 38th Street and 18th Avenue. People from the neighborhood come up and they protested it. Jimmy John's pulled out. Then we had supposedly the rumor was a Bass Pro Shop going to go on the northeast corner of the same interchange. People protested it from Big Island. That got changed. Every single time we turn around in Rock Island, every single optimistic growth pattern gets shut down by protests. And you know, you look at Illinois, and they talk about do these studies, do that study. You ain't done enough studies. Illinois is one of the greenest states in the country. If we don't think that the laws are trying to protect the environment down there, and you guys aren't doing your due diligence, I got to call crap on that, because we know for a fact that Illinois is not going to let development be built down there without proper due diligence. So I think as long as you guys do your jobs, if you guys make sure you abide by the laws, there's nothing but good that can come from development down in the city of Rock Island. It's been going on for 40 years. Every time we turn around, businesses leave, property taxes go up, people leave. It's just a vicious cycle. And sooner or later, we have to stand up as a community and say, we can't just put words together to try to make people look bad, the vitriol that's online, the name calling, the threats to city aldermen. We can't do that anymore. We have to understand that this is bigger than that. So I'm in support of the project. I hope that all you guys take the emotions out of it, because people get emotional. Look at the facts, do your due diligence, make sure that everything you do is by the book, and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. John Ewart?
Again, I remind everyone that's sitting in here, it is not okay to be booing speakers as they're talking. That's considered disruptive behavior. You will get a warning, and then we will ask you to leave if you continue to do it.
My name is John Ewart. I'm a Rock Island resident. Let me start by saying that I am not anti-development as the environmental advocates are being portrayed. My wife and I patronize Rock Island businesses whenever possible, even if it costs us a little bit more. Regarding the processes that are driving this project, am I wrong in saying that this agreement was reached between the mayor, a handful of city staff, and the developers, and at that point the lobbying of alder people began? Public input was only sought after the outcome had been determined. The developer himself says it's a done deal and he is only waiting for the rubber stamp to be applied. In case you haven't noticed, this is a wildly unpopular agreement. The concerns presented by the public at hearings and council meetings have largely been met with bored silence from city officials. I would say the public comment periods at public hearings and the city council meetings are just a mandated checkbox on the to-do list to get this agreement passed in its original form. The process has left me feeling disenfranchised and distrustful of the city's redevelopment processes. Comments were made 2 weeks ago about, and again tonight, about the steep decline in the city's population and business losses. This project might attract curious travelers, but it won't make the city attractive to future residents. The reaction I have to this business and its existing neighbor is the same one I have to the giant adult bookstore sign on I-80 east of here. It doesn't make me want to go to Anawan to visit, live, or start a business. I'm assuming that 15 years ago the casino was touted as a magnet for development and revitalizing our community. I wouldn't say that this has proved to be true. Now we have another syntax development that we're supposed to believe is going to solve these problems. The $2 million in additional taxes has also been highlighted repeatedly. The Business District Ordinance passed last month includes a table from the Moran Economic Development Report that shows $28 million in estimated project costs. I'm almost 70 years old, and the simple arithmetic would indicate that I might not be here to see the day this development turns a profit for the city. As I've said at previous council meetings, my primary objection to this project is ecological. I also feel that the economic benefits are being exaggerated. If you want to solve this city's image problem, start with the causes of the decline: empty lots and storefronts in the center of the city.
Thank you. Peter Toker.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Peter Toker with Grow Quad Cities Regional Economic Development Organization. So naturally, as your regional economic development partner, we support the efforts of the city moving forward in a growth and prosperous way to provide better amenities and benefits for the community that increase the competitiveness and attractiveness of the region. All around the country today, the competition is as fierce as it's ever been for talent, for businesses, for resources. And I applaud the efforts that the city of Rock Island have been doing over the past decade with, hiring qualified economic development staff, to creating the downtown organizations with Rita and Jack for the work that he's doing. It's obvious that you're being proactive about your approach to making this a better city and a more competitive region. And in regards to your current topic at hand about for an economic development project, if you'll indulge me, I'll just tell you a story real quick. So I've been doing economic development for 20 years. And one of the most successful cities that I ever did it in was a small town of 63,000 people called Alpharetta, Georgia. And for 2 decades, there was a plan to do a downtown rehabilitation project. When I went to downtown Alpharetta for the first time, it was a ghost town that closed down at 7 p.m. And this had been a problem. Businesses were leaving, businesses were closing, buildings were deteriorating. And the reason why it never moved forward was because for 2 decades, the city had been trying to pass a bond resolution to do a downtown redevelopment project that was fiercely opposed by the city. And it took, finally, the year I was there, it took a city council that said, for the health of our city, we're going to do this project, and took on all the flaming arrows that come with it. But 2 years later, a brand new city hall was built, 30 acres was cleared, and they were to do an RFP that brought a $300 million development to downtown Alpharetta that now has boutique hotels, shops, retail, was just voted the #1 downtown in all of Metro Atlanta. And so my encouragement to you is, when you're thinking about how do you want to position Rock Island in the future, how do you want to position yourself for the growth and the health and the prosperity of your city, for businesses and for residents, sometimes it takes the tough decisions. And so, again, as your regional economic development partner, we support all efforts that you make to make Rock Island better for your businesses, for your residents, and help as it relates to the competitiveness of our region as we try to bring more people to the Quad Cities to ensure that we have a long and prosperous future together. So, thank you.
Thank you. Troy Green.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Troy Green. Those who know me know that typically I'm short and direct to the point, which I will be tonight. For the past 6 years, I've held the chair position for the Development Association of Rock Island, known as DARI. We share the same focus as the city of Rock Island when it comes to business, community, and economic development. DARI supports the city, the development, and the economic impact this will have on the city of Rock Island. Personally, it's important for the municipalities to drive the tax revenue, to help build resources to support their operations and infrastructure. Many older cities with aging infrastructure like Rock Island need additional funding for projects and development throughout the city. This project does so. It will help provide much needed funding for the city of Rock Island for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Denton, Tander, Dayton? I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's Taylor Denton. I'll be brief. My name is Taylor Denton. I'm an environmentalist, a human rights activist, and a concerned citizen. And I come to you today with comments on 2 issues that may seem unconnected, but everything that is discussed in this room and in this meeting is a part of something that should be of utmost importance to all of us, and that is democracy. We come here to be seen, to be heard, and we hope that you, the City Council, will hear us because we asked you to represent us. This is your job. You work for us. You serve us. And the 2 issues that I'm concerned most about today is the issue of Mylan Bottoms and its possible destruction, and that of justice for Jakarta Jackson, who, as you may know, was murdered by Officer Brett Taylor earlier this year. Of both of those 2 issues, I ask this council for greater transparency, accountability, and responsibility to the people and to the land. I say, don't get comfortable. And don't think that we, the people, will allow you to get comfortable in negligence or complacency. As you will continue to hear us in the streets, letting you know that if we don't get no justice, you don't get no peace. Protect the land, protect the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, then me, my comments. Teray?
Good evening. After hearing everything that's been said here tonight, and you guys are all familiar with me, I've spoken to you often enough concerning justice for Jakarta, you know, and seeing the people come out as passionate as they have for justice for the environment as well. My thing that I'm wondering about when we talk about moving the city of Rock Island forward, he spoke about economic development. But if the citizens don't feel safe in their own community, when you can have a father of a 3-year-old gunned down over what again? Yeah, I'm still waiting for that part. I understand you guys said it was the car that was the weapon, but remember when he jumped in the car, he could have pulled off before the officer even made it to the car. He didn't try. He didn't try to leave until after the officer broke the window and was forcing his way in there. The same officer that had threatened him repeatedly that he was gonna effing shoot him, right? But somehow we overlooked that. Somehow they sitting here and they came back with statistical evidence showing that even the bald eagles have been affected from the development of Bally's Casino. But we overlooked that too. We're saying economic development for a community when you guys haven't figured out what your actual identity is. If you're gonna run after money, you're losing the race to Bettendorf, Pleasant Valley, and other communities around here. You gotta find a new niche to actually draw people in, to make people wanna live here. Oh, maybe police reform. Maybe actually getting where the police, you know, protect the people. Find ways to de-escalate. Maybe going out into the community and actually listening to what the people say that they need and they want in their communities. Or allowing those of us that actually put boots on the ground, that actually can have sway in the community and influence in the community, allow us to sit back and reform the community. But rather than antagonize and treat us as though we're the hostile enemy. This just doesn't make sense. If the people are telling you one thing, we're not out here protesting just because we want attention and be able to shout at people. A man's life was taken, and you guys are still yet to address it. I haven't heard anything about any sort of reform, de-escalation. The only thing that you guys have addressed, oh, the language. But what about the fact that this man was murdered over what? You guys said a warrant. Was it for murder? Somebody help me understand this. Why did a man have to die because he had tinted windows? Because that's what the DA's report said. This just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to be, as Martin Luther King would say, peaceful, just to stay here and show you guys that, hey, man, this is what we're actually trying to do. We're not asking for anything major. The people coming out here about the bottoms, they're not asking for anything major. They're saying, hey, just relocate it somewhere else. If you really want to create jobs, damn, 11th Street is undeveloped. Potholes everywhere. Do you guys not see the blight during the main fairways throughout Rock Island? Develop there. If you want to put a casino, put it somewhere where the people actually can make it to it. What is the purpose of putting it way out there? Who are you actually putting it out there for? These are the questions. If you're really trying to create jobs that are going to be sustainable and help improve the environment, put something where you can put more than just a few hundred people to work. I don't hear you guys proposing bringing in any major companies that are going to produce manufacturing. You're not developing any housing, mass housing in this area. The same thing that the economic developer just mentioned. You're not doing any of that to bring people here, to turn it into a family environment. Oh, especially when you got the reputation of, you know, shooting unarmed people, right? In front of their children. But somehow you did them a favor because you killed the father, the brother.
30 seconds.
Now, I don't even need the 30 seconds, man. I just wish y'all figured it out.
All right. I guess I'm going to make a statement, which I don't often do, and this is my statement. As some of you said, you may not, I guess you'll listen to me, whether you believe me or not, on what I was going to say and what my feelings and thoughts are. And I'm speaking for myself, not for the council, not for the employees. I'm speaking about them, not for them. And I was very, very disappointed in so many of the people out in the audience 2 weeks ago especially on how rude people have been. It's been terrible. The city staff, the city council have been nothing but respectful in listening and making adjustments where they possibly can. And I guess you look for that in return. And I haven't seen it. I didn't see it tonight. It was terrible 2 weeks ago. And tonight even it hasn't been great. And I just think that is poor representation of the community. And it really bothers me. And we talk about, and I'm going to deviate on a couple different topics, and I'm not responding to all the details here by any means, but one is transparency. And we get accused of not being transparent. This project was brought forth publicly long before we normally do or economic development projects do of this size. It's further down the road than what it was ever done to be transparent. And because of that, things change. You think we lie because one time we talked about a gas station, then we talk about something else at pumps. It's because the project isn't fully cooked. It's half-baked, if you want to call it that. We're working with the public and trying to develop it. We're working with the developers trying to develop it. We're working with city council and the state laws on developing it and trying to keep people informed as it goes. But at that very moment, we're telling you what we know, the facts that we know them as we know them that day. And it changes. Could be the next day, could be a week later. Things change. As the developer starts to learn more about what he or she are doing, as the laws, we continue to work down the laws and understanding them, and we try to keep people informed. It's not easy to keep everybody informed all at the same time, at the same place. That's not an easy task, because we also got day-to-day jobs to do. And so we're doing this very, very thoroughly, making sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, whether it be state. Now, we may not meet everybody's standards that are out here, but we are meeting the laws the way they're written today to make sure that they're. And if something is exceeded from even that in studying, so be it, and it may happen. But not only when I say we, the developer is working hard at it. So I'm speaking about the developer too. Because the developer has added more dollars to his projects. It's not his, there are developers. This project has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars more to try to adapt to some of the needs that have been requested. That may not have been needed, but trying to work with the community. The staff and the council have tried to listen and worked. And so it's not fair to treat them like second-class citizens and beat them up. Holding signs up about lying is not proper and right. They're not lying. Nobody up here has lied. The staff has not lied. They're telling what they know as facts. It may not agree with your facts, but what they interpret it as, it's fact. Excuse me, you had your opportunity, I got mine.
That's a warning.
And so the issue is, and so that's what's happening. Second of all, we have talked to the developer about other locations. We've talked about whether to go to 11th Street or other Southwest Rock Island. The developer chooses not to. If this doesn't work for them here, they go to some other city. And you may be happy with that, but there's a lot of citizens in Rock Island that are not happy with that. The number one complaint that you're going to find that every one of these council members have heard over their tenure here is that we need to do, for example, road repairs. And we need income to do that. We got police and fire pensions that we have to make in obligations, and those are very expensive and go up dramatically each year. You heard the economic development of the chamber talking about it. These things don't happen, quote, overnight. They don't happen. Sometimes it takes years. The casino was 15 years ago, actually probably more than that. And so developments like this don't happen very often. Now, whether you take money over the environment, you can argue that all day long. We could be here all night. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but the city of Rock Island struggles at trying to get development here. We struggle. You can get all the small business you want. You get all the entrepreneurs, and you can talk about that. And they are great. And we have small business recognition tonight. And that is great. And they help create jobs. They help people live their dream. But to bring in revenue like this is going to bring in doesn't even compare to what that would do for the city of Rock Island. Guess what? And we're going to need another one like this someplace in Rock Island after this. And we're going to need another one like this after that to keep up with what the city of Rock Island needs. Now, do we want to continue to preserve the environment? Absolutely. Mr. Swanson said it very well, that this does offer us some revenues, in this case, revenues to be able to do that. And we want to continue to try to do that in areas that we can. But there's going to be other areas that we need to develop out in southwest Rock Island. We need the revenue, or we cannot keep up with the things that need to be kept up in Rock Island. This developer does not want to move anywhere else in Rock Island. That is out of the question. The city doesn't dictate these things. You think the city dictates them. The developer, in this case, if we were in 53rd and Bettendorf, and I'm going to stop here shortly, the city can have a lot more control in what it says and does. If you're on John Deere Road, the city has more control in what it does. You look at sign ordinances, and it could go on and on. The city of Rock Island cannot afford that. The city, we would not get any kind of development of any consequence in the city of Rock Island to put those kind of requirements on the developers. We've got to seize the opportunities when they're there. Now, these ladies and gentlemen up here have the vote on it. They make their own minds up. By the way, with that, none of the city council, none of the elected officials, nobody sitting up here, nor does the staff have any investment in this development. Zero investment. You talk about it, who's getting rich? I am not. Nobody else up here is off of this deal. There's no under-table money. There's no extra deal. The city and citizens are the winners. That's who's winning and getting this. Now, the developer may be wealthy. He may be making more money. That's the dream. That is someone's dream, to be able to develop, create a business, and grow. And we shouldn't stagnate that. But the city of Rock Island needs, so once again, the sign's being held up of greasing the palms. I'm telling you, there's no palms been greased up here. That's almost could be liable issues. If anybody thinks there's palms being greased, money under the table, or somebody's, bring it forth to whatever authority you wish to bring it to. Bring it. I encourage it and bring it on if there is somebody thinks that there's money being ill-spent or received anywhere in this council or with the staff. I would stand behind that all day long. And to be able to hold signs up, and I believe in freedom of speech, but not lying, not defaming somebody. That could cause somebody their job. That could cause somebody from future type of employment by doing those sort of things. And it should not be tolerated. And I apologize for getting on the bandwagon, but I just think that this group, especially up here, but the staff also, deserves much better than that. They're professionals. They're working very hard for the citizens of Rock Island. There's a lot of citizens of Rock Island that are pleading for this thing to happen. Yes, I've gone over 5 minutes. I got the right to do that. All right? So with that gentleman, when he's up here.
I thought there was supposed to be no back and forth.
There is no back and forth.
There is.
Yeah, I'm making my statement. I'm making my statement. And so if there's any other issues that people want to bring up, they can see me or any authority if they want afterwards. They can talk to the city attorney. They can seek other legal aspects if they think there's something illegal happening. But everything is above board in this situation. Thank you. All right. Next up is Update Rock Island. It's got a couple items. Learn more about West End revitalization. Stop by the MLK Center tomorrow, April 29th, to hear an update on West End revitalization progress. An open house will be held from 5 to 7 p.m. Staff will be sharing upcoming plans and ways the public can get involved in transforming the heart of our community. The open house is free and open to all. Free Comic Book Day. The Rock Island Public Library will celebrate Free Comic Book Day this Saturday, May 3rd, by giving away comics for all ages and cartoon drawing class. The class with local cartoonists, I get a speaker. The artist Bill Douglas visit the Rock Island Downtown Library on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. to grab a free comic while they last. Attendees of all ages can learn how to create a comic book page with the Draw by Bill cartoons class offered from 12:30 to 2. Also, at the Downtown Library, the drawing class is free, but registration is required. To sign up, visit the library website at www.rockislandlibrary.org, or you can call 309-732-READ. Broadway Mother's Day Tour. The Broadway Historic District Association is planning a Mother's Day tour of 5 Rock Island's oldest historic homes. The tour will take place Sunday, May 11th, from noon to 4, and will feature the main floor of some of the oldest homes in Rock Island. 2 of the featured homes are Buford Mansion and the Plummer, did I say this right, Dylan, Plummer House? It's your area, isn't it? Oh, all homes are within an easy walk. Tickets are $20 each and available at the door of any of the homes. Please, for more information, go to Facebook page for Broadway Historic District. Thank you. Item number 8A has been taken off the agenda.
I'm
8A.
sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to interrupt because I am tired of the rudeness and you talking while we are running a meeting. Please be respectful and please be quiet. This is both ways, sir.
All right, item 8A has been taken off the agenda, so we're on 8B.
Report from the Trafficking Engineering Committee regarding a request from John Curtis, 3011 11th Avenue, to remove the no parking zone in front of his home. First reading.
Move to approve the request, suspend the rules, and consider the ordinance.
Second. Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
And Healy.
Aye. Item 8C.
Report from Traffic Engineering Committee regarding a request from Bobby Jones, 1807 86th Avenue West, to ban parking on the north side of 86th Avenue West from his driveway westward to Ridgewood Road. First reading.
Motion to approve the request and consider the ordinance.
Second. Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Moses Robinson.
Aye.
Sure he's listening. Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
And Healy.
Aye. Item 9A.
An ordinance implementing a municipal grocery retail's occupational tax and municipal grocery service occupational tax for the city of Rock Island. Second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second. Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
No.
Poulos.
Aye.
And Healy.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 9B.
An ordinance repealing Chapter 8, Article 10A, or excuse me, 12A, horse-drawn carriages and vehicles in its entirety. Second reading.
Move to repeal the ordinance.
Second. Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
And Healy.
Aye. Item 9C.
An ordinance adding a new section 2-161, collection fees and costs, to Article 5, Division 1, financial generally of the municipal code for the city of Rock Island. Second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
No.
Pulis.
Aye.
And Healy.
Item 9D.
An ordinance amending Chapter 3 Alcoholic Liquor, Section 3-7D3 Administrative Hearing of the Rock Island Code of Ordinances, second reading.
Move to pass the ordinance.
Move to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
And Healy.
Item 9E.
An ordinance amending Chapter 3 Alcoholic Liquor, Section 3-3B and C, establishing the Mayor Pro Tem as Deputy Liquor Commissioner of the Rock Island Code of Ordinances, second reading.
Move to pass the ordinance.
Move to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Robinson.
No.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
And Healy.
Item 9F.
An ordinance establishing a public hearing date on the proposed amendments to the existing Parkway I-280 Casino Tax Increment Financing TIF redevelopment plan and project area, second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance amending the public hearing date to June 18th, 2025.
Second.
Move to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
And Healy.
10A through I.
Consent agenda items A through I.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through I. Second.
Move to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
And Healy.
Item 11A.
Report from administration regarding a right of entry agreement with A. Hana Ilwa LLC.
Motion to approve the amended agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
Move to second. Any discussion?
I did have a little something on this that I would like to go over. This is in the essence of transparency. I wanted to give up an update about the Casino West project based on items the developer, A. Hanna, is committed to doing. First off, they have a signed contract with Terracon, one of the largest environmental consultants in the United States. Terracon has 180 locations and over 7,000 employees. With Terracon's assistance, A. Hanna is committed to doing the following additional steps. First, aquatic resource delineation. This will be both a desktop and an actual on-site review, making sure the Clean Water Act, Section 404, is followed, and also the Rivers and Harbor Act, Section 10. The on-site visit will verify and delineate wetland areas and then identify any potential plant and vegetation issues. Soil samples will be taken if deemed necessary if there are any questionable plants or vegetation identified. Second, agency verification. Based on the site, there's anticipated compliance verification from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Terracon will verify and get any permits if needed, or if no permits are needed, we'll get verification. Third, protected species habitat assessment. Based on Section 7 and Section 10 of the Endangered Species Act, Terracon will perform a office data review and will also conduct on-site inspections to include boots-on-the-ground surveillance, aerial imagery, GIS mapping, and report findings at and near the proposed site. This report will also address compliance with the Migratory Bird Treaty Act and the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act. Fourth, Bald Eagle Nest Survey. Terracon will field survey the site to ensure compliance of allowed construction activities within 660 feet of the site and 1.5 miles of a nest. They will locate and map eagles' nests, then they will document with GPS. Fifth, on-site species examinations. Terracon will be examining, documenting, and coordinating on-site visits for the following: state threatened or endangered species, mussels, Higgins eyes, butterfly, I'm gonna mess this one up, Ellipsiara lanolata, and Blanding's turtle. Terracon will be filing for a permit for the Blanding's turtle with the state and will help coordinate on-site visits based on specific time frames, May through June, due to hatching. Sixth, a release of parcel 4. Could I please have that on, Tim? Thank you. This is a preliminary site survey, not approved. In the proposed site survey, at the bottom, you'll see Site 4. This is the previously talked about area that has a small portion of wetland in it. This area is also the site of the much talked about mounds and possible turtle locations. Hannah will, upon sale, if approved, release this parcel to the city to be put back into the 528 acres that would be in the proposed conservation easement. I just wanted to inform the public so there is full transparency on the additional steps that Terracon will do based on a signed contract. Not talk, it is a signed contract that Hannah has already done. So there are additional steps. This should not be public information. This is a contract between a business developer and a Terracon, a company. But yet, we come out, and I say this, the developer, I had their permission, just so people know that there are additional steps. So that's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Can I get staff to confirm that fencing is no longer a part of this right of entry agreement?
Yeah, that's correct. The amendment is removing any reference to fencing. That wasn't the intent of the developer. He just wants to move the gate from one end of the property closer to the entrance.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, do a roll call, please.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet. Aye. Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
And Healy.
Aye.
Yeah, make sure that we're turning off our mics.
Yeah. Mine too, sometimes. That's exactly. 11B.
Report from the city attorney regarding a 1,4-dioxane litigation retainer agreement.
Move to adopt the contract and authorize the city manager to execute the contract subject to minor city attorney modifications.
Second.
Move to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
And Healy.
Aye.
Item number 12, other business. New business.
I do have something. So for those of you who are left, thank you for staying. I have received many calls from residents of my ward who are for the Mylan Bottoms project because they do not want their taxes to go up. They understand after discussing with me that we are being respectful of the environment, trying to do everything possible to mitigate any damage to that area. It used to be a Bobcat dealership there, and then it was the offices for Riverstone Group. It never has been in the wetlands. It is outside of the wetlands. I went to Hy-Vee. I'm stopped in Hy-Vee all the time by people, not just about this, but for anything and everything they want to talk about. I asked people in Hy-Vee. I've asked people in Aldi. I teach jazzercise 5 mornings a week, and I have asked my students who live in Rock Island, what are your feelings about this? And I have got to be honest with you, other than 2 people, every person I have talked to is for this because they understand the need for economic development in our city. They understand you cannot put a cannabis dispensary across the street from an elementary school, and why on earth would anyone? We are trying to do the very best for the most of the residents of Rock Island. We are up here trying to do the very, very best for this city. And not everyone's gonna like it. Half the stuff I vote on, half the people like it, half the people don't. But you have to understand, trying to take a 360-degree view of this issue and listening to the people who this will financially affect their wallets, listening to those people, we have to make a decision on what is the best for the city. And I know everyone's not going to be happy, and I understand that. But please understand, we are not bad people. I am not an evil, negative environmentalist. I mean, for crying out loud, I have an e-bike. I ride my e-bike instead of driving a car. I don't have a boat, I have a kayak and a canoe. So please understand, we are trying to do the very, very best that we can.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, it's my last full meeting, so I have to say something. This will touch on some things people have already said. You know, the mayor talked about we can't make the developer move this development project anywhere else. The city does not put businesses anywhere. So let me repeat that. The city does not put businesses anywhere. Business owners decide where they want to go. Developers decide where they want to go. If the city could put businesses wherever they want, 11th Street would be thriving, the downtown would be thriving, there'd be new housing everywhere, there'd be manufacturing plants all over the place. We don't have that ability. It's up to a developer or a business owner to tell us where they want to go. Mr. Mavis touched on Fairway that was going to come to Rock Island on 18th Avenue several years ago. People said, why don't you put it in the Old Country Market? We don't put it anywhere. The developer puts it there. The developer didn't want to go to Country Market. They wanted that particular spot on 18th Avenue. They got pushed back. Fairway didn't come to Rock Island. But it's up to the developer or the business owner to do it. Economic development is extremely hard in Rock Island. Every week somebody says, why don't you do something with 11th Street? Well, when I was a kid, 11th Street was thriving. I went to Zayre's, Eagles. I shopped at all of the restaurants all along 11th Street. I also went to McCabe's and Woolworth's and Turnstile and Sears. None of those places exist anymore. Our economic corridors that were vibrant in the 60s and 70s are not vibrant anymore. It's John Deere Road, it's 53rd, it's Elmore. They didn't exist in the 70s. That's all new. 11th Street now is not marketable. It's a tough place to put something. Many places in Rock Island, our buildings are old, they don't meet modern construction standards, they don't meet modern warehousing standards. We have to build something new and we just don't have many locations. So what about this Casino West site? The mayor has been trying to get this site to the city for many years, and he finally did it. And from the very beginning, it was with the sole purpose of putting a development on those 10 acres. As has been mentioned before, it's been a commercial site. It's not this pristine wilderness. It's not in the wetlands. But we, from the very beginning, going back several years, we wanted to develop that site. So now we have a developer that's come to us. We didn't go out and find somebody. A developer came to us and said, we want that spot. People have questioned whether it makes economic sense. Well, the developer, I would say, is an expert in where to put a dispensary because his current dispensary does very well, and it happens to be on the same expressway, just on the other side of Milan. So he's determined that the expressway is a good place to put a dispensary. And who am I to doubt him? He's the expert. Why do we need a gas station there? Everybody goes and gets gas in Iowa. Well, that isn't true. I passed 4 gas stations on the way here tonight. All of them had cars in there. Rock Island sells millions of gallons of gas every year. People do gas up in Rock Island. Well, why would you want to put a gas station out there? Several years ago, a chain that all of you would recognize decided that general area was a good place to put a gas station with some bays for trucks. Not trucks that are crossing through the country. They're stopping out at the I-80 truck stop, but there's many trucking companies and businesses with trucks that are in Rock Island, in Milan, and they need a place to gas up. And it was determined that this was a good place. Where did they go? They went to the Andalusia Road and the Beltway, where some people have suggested, why didn't you put a gas station there? Well, they tried. The problem is the proximity to that intersection meant they could not have full access off the expressway or Andalusia Road to get into their property. If you were traveling north on the expressway, you would not have been able to take a left into this gas station. And they decided, even though a gas station was needed in the area, that it didn't make sense to put one there because it couldn't have the access. And this site wasn't available at that point. So when you say, does it make economic sense to put a gas station there? Well, people that do gas stations for a living think so. Again, who am I to say, but the experts think that it does make economic sense. I understand there's an issue, obviously, with the Eagles. People are concerned about the Eagles. And I researched it. You know, I had a talk with Mr. McKay today. Why does the Fish and Wildlife Service, why their guidelines, if we follow their guidelines, this development is perfectly okay? And his answer was, well, they don't really care about roosting as much as I do. And he could, something to that effect. They don't care. They don't care as much about roosting, or they put more emphasis on nesting. But in my mind, if we're in compliance with the federal agencies that regulate bald eagles, and we're doing all of the things that was just mentioned by Alderman Healy, it seems to me that we're doing everything right, and that's what we're trying to do. Now, as Alderperson Swanson mentioned, we make hard decisions and not everyone approves of those decisions. At every level of government, hard decisions are made. Since I've been around the city, the council has voted to increase property taxes, and not necessarily this council, but increase property taxes, increase fees, and start new fees. Nobody likes that. Everybody's against that, but it's the best thing for the community. When we look at a project like this, we have to look at what's best for the community, and echo what Alderperson Swanson says. When we're at this meeting, people are very vocal, and almost exclusively, they don't want the project. When I leave here, people come up to me, I don't solicit anything, and they say, we need this project in Rock Island. That's what I hear. Now, is that a scientific survey? No. But it certainly isn't accurate to say that everyone in Rock Island is against the project, which is what we hear every week. The fact is, some people in Rock Island are for it, and some are against it. And we're going to make the best decision we can based on all the information we have and do what's best for the city of Rock Island. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I totally different topic. I had a great experience doing a groundbreaking for 25 new veterans homes on 31st Avenue and 11th Street, give or take, with a community center and everything else. Going to be a great addition to the city of Rock Island. So that was an exciting, positive factor. Also, I had the opportunity to go to the Arsenal Island. They just opened up 9 holes of golf there. Bill, you can go try it out. I didn't get a chance to, but I know one in the room likes it. But once again, that is open to the public. I guess a public announcement for them. It's open to the public. Get your visitor's pass out in Moline, and it's good for a year. You get it on and off. But this is it's a self-sustaining golf course. The military will not make up any deficits. So if we don't use it, it will go away. So I encourage people to at least try it. Don't forget about Saki and Highland. I'm looking over John Grip. I played both of them this last week, and they're in great condition. But at the same token, there's a lot of great public golf courses in the community. But give it a try. The Arsenal's very proud of it, and it's also a lot of things to see on the Arsenal Island besides that. But it was a good, positive thing for the community. But those couple of things I experienced this last week. All right, anybody else? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Not listening, hearing any? Not listening to any? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moses, I didn't make sure I didn't forget you. I don't know.
No, I'm fine.
All right.
Good night, Moses.